Right, this is obviously very optimistically called the future of conferences, but it really is about a conference that I do in my spare time with a bunch of mates. I was working in digital when this conference came to be, and now, in a very cool fashion, I work for Jack Morton's, which is an experiential agency, so hopefully my passion and my work will become more and more aligned. So, if you think about the nature of a conference, what it is that you have is essentially an opportunity for knowledge transfer. So you've got a building block and you want to transfer that building block to somebody else and hopefully make a bit of a splash, make a bit of an impact, but you're trying to get a piece of information from one person to another. And then how that usually comes about, and we've already talked about how boring conferences can be, is that you get a professional speaker and you give them 45 to 60 minutes and they're like a subject expert, and then hopefully you put them in front of an audience who may or not be engaged. Now, I've been this presenter, and I have to say, as a presenter, it's not a very inspiring experience. You don't get very well briefed, and you don't get the feedback that you need in order for you to get the value exchange. And the value exchange to an audience is not that great either. I'm sure we've all been to a 2-day conference and been pitch slapped by a supplier who would normally have to take you out for a very expensive lunch to get an hour of your time. So I'm just thinking, this is not kind of really working for me. So, I mean, what it is that we've created is this, this huge barrier between professionalism and between attendees. And there is, there's a never the twain shall meet kind of experience that's going on. And essentially what it does is it kind of creates a bit of a wasteland around what should be an incredibly exciting and dynamic thing, like ideas, experience, innovation, questions. This should be really, really rich territory. So, to condense the problem, I think a lot of people sort of have that empty vessel philosophy. You've got this completely knowledgeable speaker and a totally empty audience. But I think this one is a bit more of an accurate reflection. Each of those two members of the opportunity each have something to add, to share, to give to the experience. And we also need to bring that into context with the fact that there is the back channel now. So even if you don't provide the kinds of experiences that would allow that two-way flow of information, it's going to happen anyway. So the challenge really is that in order for knowledge to be transferred, we kind of need a structure. Stories have very, very well-known and very well-defined structures, and yet how it is, so that's the whole kind of keep to the path bit, and yet how it is that we understand something is by articulating around an idea, to sort of contextualise it and to understand how it is that it's different from everything else. What it is that you also need to do is the tension in between these two things will give you consistency. And we've spoken about how Unconferences can essentially not be terribly consistent in their experience, or that you can, if you go to one, you'll have a similar experience in the next one. So, the challenge in sort of trying to overcome that is, how do you create this wonderful multiple experience sort of around an idea and still deliver consistency? So, what the opportunity is instead of taking that huge idea and kind of like throwing it into the ocean, having this big splash and knowledge transferred, you can move a lot more lightly. You can skip a stone across the pool of water, across the audience that you want to do, and have a wonderful ripple effect. And how we did that is with Interesting South, a theatre of ideas around curiosity on these 3 building blocks. A very participatory event where we asked people to tell us what it was that they were interested in, and allowed them to participate before the event. During the event, it was one of the only times where you have your MC saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, switch on your phones." It allowed us to give feedback and to bring the audience and the presenters together. There were 20 presenters. They only speak for 3 minutes or 10 minutes each. So you got to see people feeling nervous before they got on stage, people giving them feedback when they were on stage, people giving the the speakers, you know, more information about the questions that they had on stage, the speakers actually telling people what their experience was like. And then afterwards we filmed it and we let the idea free. So that's interesting stuff.